Hello guys, this is Oganda Kevin. Of course, this is the Regina Indechi show. And today I'm with Prof. George and we have an amazing discussion. Mambo Prof.
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. As you've been told, I'm Professor Nyabuti George,
Yeah.
and I'm a specialist in food chemistry and generally chemistry in almost all the aspects, but especially the food chemistry. That is where I'm specialist in. Yes.
I remember back in high school, chemistry couldn't come through. Ilikuwa inakataa kabisa. And so Prof, yesterday we were having a discussion with you, and you said something about salt, and you were saying the common salt that is normally used is not good for the health. How about you share with our audience?
Oh, yeah, you're right. I think it's high time that we ran away from the common salt.
Yeah.
Because of the studies have shown, there's a lot of studies have been carried out there. And it has actually, the studies have shown that common salt contain a lot of sodium ions, and these sodium ions are not good for our bodies, especially for people who are diabetic, people who are hypersensitive. Common salt is not the best. And if you want to avoid going that direction, then you need to run away from this common salt.
What do you mean by common salt?
The common salt is the one that we commonly use at home, and it's full of sodium. Mostly it's sodium chloride. So we are recommending, as scientists, we are recommending that we run away from that, and instead we use the sea salt. Now the sea salt has a lot of benefits. One, it has no sodium ions, so you have no worries from sodium. And then it also has a lot of calcium for bone formation. So that is the way to go with the current lifestyle. That is the way to go to avoid these diseases, yes.
So is the sea salt available in the supermarkets or in the maybe shops?
Yeah, sea salt is readily available in our country. Sea salt is available, and even though it is slightly expensive, but it's available. It's around 120 shillings for 500 grams. So I think most of us should be able to afford that. Now, the connection, we talk about diabetes. Diabetes is a metabolic process. It's a condition where the body cannot produce enough insulin, or there is a defect with the beta cells in the pancreas that are responsible for the production of insulin. Now, insulin is meant to control the amount of sugar in our blood. So the moment there is no production, or there is a problem with its production, then we normally have a surge or a rise in what we call the sugar, the blood sugar.
A friend tells me insulin acts like an opening to the cell to allow more sugar get into the cell.
Okay, insulin converts the sugars, especially when the sugar levels go up. Insulin is able to assist the body to convert it, and therefore lower the sugar levels to normal levels. So if you have a problem with its production, then the sugar levels are likely to rise in your body, and that will bring about type 2 diabetes. So this diabetes, we know the problems of this diabetes. It's associated with high blood pressure, because it can lead to high blood pressure, and we know currently what is happening with the statistics on blood pressure. People are falling down and collapsing, and this is associated with once blood pressure is high, and then what happens? There are these thin arteries that are in your brain. Yeah. So those thin ones, they cannot withstand the high pressure. So what happens at one point, they break off. Once they break, then you say somebody has got a stroke. That's what happens actually when you get a stroke. The thin arteries in your head actually burst. And once they burst, then that is the stroke.
You're talking about type 2 diabetes. Is that type 1 or type 4?
Yeah, we have type 2, we have type 1, and we have gestational. Now, gestational is the one that is common for gestating mothers. The pregnant mothers are likely to get gestational diabetes. And for type 1, it's not very common, because it's actually the genetical one, where somebody was born with with that. And then
Are you saying there's a type of diabetes that is hereditary?
yes, diabetes, a large portion of diabetes is actually hereditary. So the large percentage is hereditary, and then the other percentage is acquired from the way we live, the lifestyle.
Lifestyle.
Yeah, the foods we take, and generally how we exercise. Yeah.
So, Prof, what is your one advice to the audience about how we should live? Are there foods that we should avoid, or are there things that we should do as a people to ensure that our health is, is standard, is good?
Yeah, I think where we are headed to, we want people to start exercising a lot. Make sure you exercise, at least have a walk, or at least do some outdoor activities to make you active. The idea is that when you exercise, then you make your muscles and your arteries become flexible. And once they become flexible, they do not narrow down. The idea is the moment the arteries become narrow, then the pressure increases. And that is what actually contributes to all this complication. The other thing is about, we talked about salt. I think we need to run away from the common salt and go to sea salt. Then I think our advice for those who already have problems with diabetes, let's use warm water in bathing as opposed to cold water. Because the logic is when you use warm, then we talk about dilation of the arteries. The arteries become loose and they expand and they allow enough blood to flow to almost all parts of your organ. But when you use cold water, especially in the morning, then what happens is that the arteries constrict, they reduce in size, and that consequently can lead to a stroke. So I think people should start being very careful with the way they operate. If it's at night, if you wake up in the morning or deep in the night, you want to wake up, take a break, 1 or 2 minutes, relax before you step out of the bed. Don't just rush from the bed, because at that time, normally your body, you need to send signals to your brain that I actually want to wake up and I'm moving. Otherwise, we had people falling down in the bathrooms and collapsing is because of that rapid exposure to coldness and warmness in the bathroom, and that can be a problem. Yes.
That's so interesting to learn, and thank you so much, Prof, for coming on the show. And that's very interesting. And we want to ask our audience, you can consider what our Prof has shared today. And for those that who have not subscribed, kindly consider doing so. And let's meet in the next episode. Thank you so much.